Hello, everybody, and welcome to Reality Hacker for June 14th, 2025. It's Season 2, Episode 24. I am MayorWatt. I run ohmTown.com, and we're going to talk about these 5 articles. It's a time machine episode. I'll try and get through it really quick. Smart dental implants, haptic feedback trailer for F1, shape changing for visually impaired, wearable multisensory haptics, and AI agents gameplay the real world. All right, everybody. I am bouncing in and out of meetings because, well, as mayor, I've got 1,000 different bosses, and they all want to have meetings with me, typically during a show. So let's get into it. Today's first article is over in Non Sequitur News. Although it's Reality Hacker, many things can fall under the category of hacking reality, and smart dental implants could feel more like the real thing. That's kind of hacking reality, right? Each year, millions of people in the U.S. get dental implants as a long-term natural-looking fix for missing teeth, but traditional implants don't fully mimic real teeth. Researchers recently described the new approach in dental implants that could better replicate how natural teeth feel and function. So their study is posted in Scientific Reports, shows early success with both smart implants and a new, gentler surgical technique, but it's done in rodents. Yeah, rats. Anyway, the article's over at futurity.org. It's posted by Tufts University. I don't know if there's an actual, somewhere in here might be a person, a byline is what it's called, but I've never bit into ice cream like that. That just, if I have, I've done it like really fast because my head would explode. I think that would send pain shooting through my mouth, down my neck, and make me pee a little, I think. I don't know. There's just something about my bottom teeth hitting something freezing cold like that. Just doesn't happen. Anyway, if you are in the chat over on Twitch, you can hit !RH and the ohmTown will spit the articles out in the order that we are discussing them, but not in like a favorite kind of a thing. But we here talk about the news Monday through Friday at around 7 o'clock is when I do the normal Non Sequitur news show. But then on the weekends, we do 3 shows on Saturday, 3 shows on Sunday. My mayoral duties kept me from doing the shows, so I'm doing all of the shows this week, playing catch up, kind of like what happened last week. Unfortunately, been pretty busy doing mayoral stuff, but so in their study, they basically say natural teeth connect to the jawbone through soft tissue, rich in nerves, which help sense pressure and texture and guide how we chew and speak. Implants lack that sensory feedback. I've had a discussion with a dentist about that kind of technology and about that sensation. You don't know. When you have implants, you don't know how hard you're biting into something, and you can actually cause more damage by not being able to gauge that. So it's kind of interesting that so now traditional implants use a titanium post that fuses directly into the jawbone to support a ceramic crown, and the surgery often cuts or damages nerves nearby. And to tie the inert pieces of metal into the body's sensory system, the researchers have developed an implant wrapped in an innovative biodegradable coating, and the coating contains stem cells, and essentially it kind of bonds everything back together. So as the coating dissolves during the healing process, it releases the stem cells and protein, fueling growth of new nerve tissue around the implant. And so you will learn how to interpret the sensations that come from biting down on this implanted tooth. It's pretty neat stuff. Let's keep going though. The next article is over in Technology Today. It's another one of our shows that is typically on Sundays, wedged right in between WarCrafters and FourWheelTech. Well, Apple made a haptic trailer for the F1 movie that only works on iPhones. Long anticipated F1 comes to theaters on June 27th, so a couple of weeks away, 10 days according to the origin time for my time machine. It's actually the 14th today, but I left from the 17th, gone back in time to do this show. So it leverages the smartphone's Haptic engine to let people feel the action right in the palm of your hands. Apple promises the viewers will experience the power of the engines, the rumble of the curbs. The rumble of the curbs. Okay. And the intensity of every gear shift like never before with responsive vibrations. Wow. I'm getting all tingly just thinking about it. It's available to stream right now via Apple TV app, but requires iOS 18.4 or later. Not the new 29, I guess, or 28 or whatever the hell it's going to be called. 29, 26, 26. It's going to be called 26. All of the versions are going to be called 26 from now on. Like iOS 26, iPadOS 26, macOS 26. I think every major iteration. So every year it's going to be another. It's going to be 26, then 27, but then interstitial updates will have versioning like 26.4 or that kind of a thing. Pretty cool. So the article is over at Engadget.com. Lawrence Bonk put the article together. The text statement says it lets you feel the action of the film right in your hands. Sure. Is it going to make me look like my face is all pinched in by this helmet? That's one hell of a helmet there. Drive safe, folks. Let's see if they say anything really interesting in this thing. To the end, the company is extremely bullish regarding the film. It's getting the full theatrical treatment along with a nationwide IMAX release, and Apple also featured the movie prominently in its WWDC event and screened it for attendance at the Steve Jobs Theater. I want to see movies at the Sphere in Las Vegas. I haven't seen anything in the Sphere. I've seen the Sphere, but I've never seen anything inside the Sphere. Well, I mean, I've seen stuff on YouTube about it, but I want to go and see inside it and get the full effect. Pretty fascinating graphics that they can pull off there. Kind of mess with your mind. Reality hack. Okay, the next article is over in RealityHacker as well. A shape-changing device helps visually impaired people perform location tasks as well as sighted people in a groundbreaking piece of navigation technology that uses the ability to sense information through touch. It can help people with visual impairment perform a location task as well as sighted people, according to new research. The article is over at ScienceDaily.com. It's actually an older article, but I thought that this one was really interesting. It was submitted to RealityHacker for presentation, and I thought it was really interesting. So researchers from Imperial College London, working with a company Make Sense Technology and the charity Bravo Victor, have developed a shape-changing device called Shape that helps people with visual impairment navigate through haptic perception, the way people understand information about objects through touch. The device looks like a torch, bends to indicate where a person needs to move, and straightens when the user is facing the correct direction. So in a study published in Nature Scientific Reports, researchers tested how well people with visual impairment were able to locate targets in a 3D virtual reality space using shape and haptic feedback, which is commonly used to help visually impaired people navigate. Sighted individuals were also recruited to navigate the targets and in the VR space using only their natural vision. The exciting thing about the study is that they've managed to demonstrate that shape can help people with visual impairment perform a navigation task as well as sighted people, something that we haven't seen before with other navigation devices. Yeah, I think that we basically need to develop a haptic bodysuit that locates a person in three-dimensional space perpetually, and the person train themselves to understand what the feedback means, but it needs greater fidelity, and we need to be able to interpret it that greater fidelity. So somebody can actually kind of ping a room and they know based on the haptics how far a wall is or an object in their immediate space, etc. But we'll get there eventually, and maybe by that time we'll discover a way to replace eyes or something like that. But cyberpunk is quite a few, probably 100 years off. But let's keep going. The next article is over in RealityHacker. Revolutionizing touch, researchers explore the future of wearable multisensory haptic technology. You didn't get kind of a feel for this, ironically. The last device had to do with this. Multisensory haptic technology, as well as others like the dental implants. That wasn't by intent. It just seems to be a focus of a whole lot of discussion as of late. This here, it says, from virtual reality to rehabilitation and communication, haptic technology has revolutionized the way humans interact with the digital world. While early haptic devices focused on single sensory cues like vibration-based notifications, modern advancements have paved the way for multisensory haptic devices that integrate various forms of touch-based feedback, including vibration, skin stretch, pressure, and temperature. As I was saying, we need more sensors to tap into our sensory ability. This is just some of them. Recently, a team of experts analyzed the current state of wearable multisensory haptic technology, outlining its challenges, advancements, and real-world applications. So again, this is an article over at ScienceDaily.com, and it says haptic feedbacks have been around for a while. They were introduced in the early 60s. But everyone basically has to learn how to utilize these haptic feedback devices, and our technology is growing in no undue part due to AI and scientific advancement, fundamental research, both private and public expenditures there. So true immersion in haptic technology depends not just on what a user feels, but on how naturally and comfortably they experience it. Hence the reason why I said us humans need to learn how to interact with this haptic space. If we so desire, it could actually amplify people who don't necessarily need the haptic technologies, but technology goes way beyond what a human can sense, right? So we can't see in infrared without technology. We can't see or feel micro vibrations that a piece of technology can. We can't see beyond, well, we can't even see in the dark, for crying out loud. There's a whole bunch of stuff that can amplify our senses, interpret it to something that we understand. And this is just one of them. In addition to highlighting challenges, the authors identified several emerging actuation methods that could redefine wearable haptic technology. Electromechanical actuation, they say, remains the most widely adopted method due to its reliability and affordability. That's because we've been doing it the longest. It often struggles to provide a diverse range of haptic cues because it's either off or on and not necessarily a sustained on, and depending on the pressure, it's not necessarily acute enough or have the gamut necessary for us to understand what the haptic feedback might represent. So we have to train on it quite a bit. Fluidic actuation, which utilizes pressurized air or liquid to generate dynamic tactile senses, is gaining traction as we expand our abilities and the technologies for manufacturing lower the cost. It's pretty fascinating stuff that we're moving into. Not to mention things that translate something optical to something physical so that we can actually see something beyond our visual acuity. So the review also offers insights to how wearable haptic technology is poised to unlock new possibilities in human interaction with digital and physical environments. Ready Player One, for instance, a haptic suit that has all of this ability. So much so that a person could be controlled, not so much controlled in a subconscious way, but in a conscious way. If a haptic suit detects something and the suit pulls on your arm by having a stretch haptic pull your arm in one direction, you could feel it and it would draw your attention to whatever might be in that area. If you, for instance, build a haptic sphere around you, and something is detected in your space, a haptic ping on your shoulder could tell you to turn around, or something in between, a pull on your arm and a tap on your shoulder or something like that. The technology can go way beyond where we are as humans. We're pretty frail, even though we're flexible and we can recover from things. Some things are traumatically damaging, but technology can facilitate augmenting us in our shortcomings, or even stave off some catastrophic event by detecting something that we're not necessarily aware to. So additionally, teleoperation and robotics stand to gain significantly as remote-controlled robotic systems with haptic feedback allow users to feel objects from a distance, improving precision in delicate tasks like robotic surgery. So we can see how we can get into a haptic suit and control a robot in multiple dimensions and get feedback from that remote location. So I think this is all pretty amazing technology if used for good. And that's a whole sociological argument and discussion that we can, and when I say argument, I mean discussion. Anyway, we can have that later. The next and our final article for RealityHacker today is over in RealityHacker. A deep learning alternative can help AI agents gameplay the real world. A new machine learning approach tries to emulate the human brain in hopes of creating a more capable agentic AI. The article is by Will Knight over at wired.com. And it says a new learning machine. So let's see. The new system called Axiom offers an alternative to the artificial neural networks that are dominant in modern AI. Axiom developed a software company, or is called by a software company versus AI. It's equipped with prior knowledge about the way objects physically interact with each other in the game world. It then uses an algorithm to model how it expects the game to act in response to input, which is updated based on what it observes, a process dubbed active inference. So the approach draws inspiration from the free energy principle, a theory that seeks to explain intelligence using principles drawn from math, science, and information theory, as well as biology. The free energy principle is developed by Carl Friston, a renowned neuroscientist who is chief scientist at cognitive computing company Versus, hence Versus AI, hence Axiom. So at any rate, the conventional approach to learning to play games involves training neural networks through what is known as deep reinforcement learning. Basically, as they move further past a particular goal towards a particular goal, they do course corrections, but it takes countless trials and attempts. Humans don't learn the same way. We seem to acquire knowledge a whole lot quicker. We won't sit there and burn our hand again and again and again, trying to figure out how long we can burn our hand, even if the objective is to burn our hand, right? And so we have certain senses and certain mechanics in our brain, like survival traits, that technology just doesn't understand, doesn't comprehend, doesn't have. And so it will sit there and charge into a burning building over and over again to see if it can walk through the burning building, whereas we learn that it's not possible. But this deep reinforcement learning basically says keep trying, and make minor or major tweaks to see which ones actually help you succeed in the objective. The general goal of their approach is some of its key features track with what they see in the most important, or as the most important problems to focus on to get AGI, or artificial general intelligence, nearly sentient AI, is apparently what the objective is. I don't think that we should. Sentience requires emotion. It needs to have empathy, sympathy, compassion. It can't be a sociopath. It can't be a psychopath. And technology it has no feelings. It has no understanding of the human condition other than how we iterate it and reinforce it. And even then, it's nothing more than a programmatic hurdle to get over, as the military found out when they trialed a drone test to go and delete a target. And when they countermanded that initial command, it flew back to the base, deleted the commanders, and then went back and deleted the target. So, yeah. If an AI, and there's no way to program that out, I don't think, because an AI will eventually figure out a workaround. That's what it does. Modern AI relies on artificial neural networks that are roughly inspired by the wiring of the brain, but work in a fundamentally different way. And over the past decade, And a bit, they say in the article, deep learning as an approach that uses neural networks has enabled computers to do all sorts of impressive things, including transcribe speech, recognize faces, generate images. Most recently, of course, deep learning has led to the large language models like OpenAI and so on. Somewhat ironically, given that Axiom offers an alternative to modern AI and deep learning, the free energy principle was originally influenced by the work of British Canadian computer scientist Geoffrey Hinton, who was awarded both the Turing Award and the Nobel Prize for his pioneering work on deep learning. Interesting. Oh, well, that's it, though. So we are going to reboot the time machine. That's going to pull me out of RealityHacker, but I'm going to try and reset as quickly as possible and do the Wanted show as well. I'm going to actually try to do Wanted and the Continuity Report. That normally becomes the Saturday edition of Non Sequitur News. And then I'm going to immediately reset again and do WarCrafters, Technology Today, and FourWheelTech, and try and get those done today. And then after that, maybe be able to do the Non Sequitur News for Monday. That means Monday is the 16th. So I'm several days behind because of mayoral duties. So anyway, that's it for RealityHacker. We'll reset real quick and be out of here. Bye.